love the pressure. All right, take it away, Franco.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. My name is Franco Fasoli, as you can see there. And my Capstone project is about bridging the gap, offering community land trust as a solution for the missing middle housing crisis here in Jackson County. So I want to start with a question, everybody, so we can make this more like a talk. What do you think about the nurses, the elementary school teachers? Somebody say something, please.
Hardworking.
We like them.
We like them, important, right? Okay, I think they're real heroes, not the ones from Marvel movies or the one that wear capes. These people are real heroes for our communities. So I'm gonna start talking. Let me tell you about Maria. Maria is a nurse at Asante Road Regional Medical Center. She works 12-hour shifts, saving lives. But every month she pays $1,600 per rent. It's almost 40% of her income for a standard apartment just in Medford. She dreams of owning a house. But in Jackson County, the median home price is $465,000. To afford that, Maria would have to earn over $100,000 a year, while she makes only $58,000. Maria isn't alone. She's part of the missing middle. Teachers, firefighters, and retail managers are part of this group as well. They earn the 60 to the 80% AMI. So you might be asking, why is the AMI? The AMI is the area median income. These people is the midpoint of distributed income in a certain area. So half of these people earn over the half, and the other half earns less than this half, the median, sorry. These people are the backbone of our communities, but they are being displaced. Why is that? Because housing has become a commodity, not a right. Investors treat homes as assets. Airbnb is turning our neighborhoods into tourist areas, and corporate landlords are inflating rents. But here is the irony. Even smaller homes are priced like luxuries. A 1,200 square foot house in Ashland costs $420,000. That's almost $350 per square foot, higher than Portland. This isn't just a market failure. This is getting to a betrayal on the social contract. Today, I will show you an idea on how to reclaim housing as a human right, not as a stock option. The answer lies in an ancient idea, reborn for our times. Community land trust. As you can see, it's the model right here. I'm a history lover, so let's travel back to ancient Athens. Aristotle declared that property should serve eudaimonia, that is basically collective flourishing for communal welfare. He saw that private property as a tool for stewardship. But warned us, without communal obligations, property would create greed and inequality. Fast forward in the 19th century in America, is this guy over here, Henry George. He was a printer that turned into an economist and philosopher, wrote Progress and Poverty. He saw landlords growing wealth, not by building homes or planting crops, but just by holding land as cities expanded. He called this the economic rent, profit just from ownership, not from labor. George argued that land, like air or water, should belong to everybody. Sounds radical for modern days, I know. We live in a capitalist world. It shouldn't. Today in Jackson County, home values aren't about the structure of the house itself. They're about the land beneath them. My research found that 85% of the home price in Ashland are driven just by location. As you can see here, I divided Ashland. We will be on inside a triangle because we are on the east side of Siskiyou. This will be above the boulevard. And this is the premium right here. A hillside view in Ashland adds $141,000 to the price tag. That's not a reward for hard work. That's economic rent. A windfall for landowners, paid by nurses like Maria. But here's the twist. Our system is not just broken, it's rigged. Federal subsidies like the low-income housing tax credit targets below the 60% AMI, and market rate developers choose luxury profits. And the missing middle, where are their policies for them? They are stranded in a policy desert. This is not an accident. It's the logical end as treating housing as a vehicle to generate wealth, not as homes. All right, so this is an economic capstone. I'm turning too much sociological. So let's go to the numbers. So with the help of Dr. Travis Campbell, that is over here. He helped me to create a model where I use as dependent variable the price of a sold home. And the important part that I want you all to see here is this one, the uphill. With his help, I put the longitude and latitude of different houses here in Ashland, and we make these independent variables in data, identifying the houses that were on the uphill. And the results are the ones that I just showed. The houses on this side, even the ones that share the same properties that the ones on the other side, has a premium of $141,000. My model analyzed 50 recent homes sales in Ashland. The R-squared of 0.85 show that location and price per square foot, a proxy for land and desirability, are the true price drivers for these homes. The physical attributes, bathroom, age of housing, and bedrooms, are statistically irrelevant. We can put the two examples of homes. The home A, we can say it's 1,500 square foot and $300 per square foot. And if it's in the uphill, it would have a price of $510,000. The same specification house, but on the other side of the avenue, or the boulevard, sorry, would be $369,000. The 141 premium isn't about the house, it's about the land beneath it. This is Henry George economic rent in action, a tax on community growth, paid by those who are least able to afford it. But the crisis goes deeper than this. Jackson County needs at least 1,200 affordable units for this missing middle. Where are they? Developers won't build them because luxury homes yield bigger profit margins. In Ashland, most of the new listings are over 1,800 square foot, homes designed for investors, not families in this market segment. And the human cost, where is it? Latino people, like me, I'm proud of being Latino, in this missing middle, face 45% cost burdens, and single parents, 42%. This is not about the money, this is about dignity. When housing becomes a commodity, stability is becoming a privilege. So now I'm going to talk about the community land trust model itself. It's a model that defies this commodification of housing. Here's how it works. A nonprofit owns the land forever. Families buy the house at the price that they can actually afford. When they sell, they keep a share of the appreciation, let's say 25%, while the rest stays in the trust to keep the home affordable for the next family. Proud Ground in Portland, that is the case studies I use over here, have created over 350 permanently affordable homes. Nurses like Maria buy in at $250,000 instead of the $425,000 that she would pay here. When they sell, they walk away with $50,000 in equity, enough for a down payment for a market rate house in the market, in the real market, if that's what they choose. But many people stay in these communities. 95% stay at least for a decade. That's building roots and a sense of community. Root Homes in Bend partner with employers like St. Charles Health to subsidize housing for nurses. A nurse earning around $60,000 can buy a CLT home for $275,000. That's almost half of the median price of here. They even use philanthropic grants to cover the closing costs. But this is not just affordability. This is community power. Important residents sit on the trust board, ensuring decisions reflect their actual needs. Invent Root Homes hosts financial literacy workshops to turn renters into future owners. The biggest example in the country is the Champlain Housing Trust in Vermont, which hosts 3% of Burlington population. So how do we bring this here in this area? Let's rewrite the rules of Oregon. The Senate bill already requires cities to allow duplexes and triplexes in single-family zones. These are the policy implication solution part. In Medford, waive permit fees for accessory dwelling units, or known as ADUs, and mandate that 10% of the new developments are reserved for CLTs. Let's fund the future. Ashland transient lodging tax generated $5.2 million just in 2024. This is the tax that is for tourists, for hotel tourists. If you redirect just the 10% of that, you will have a margin of $520,000. You can put this in a CLT land bank. Ben did this and fund many homes in just 2 years. Imagine converting tourist dollars into teacher housing. Let's reclaim the space. Jackson County has 8 closed schools right now. Let's transform them into CLT's neighborhoods. Energy efficient homes, community gardens, and childcare centers. We can create a thriving intergenerational community. But policy alone isn't enough. We need a cultural shift. CLT is required to see land as a common good, not as a lottery ticket. We need to ask ourselves, if home values wasn't measured in land value, but they could be measured in stability or belonging to a community. Henry George, this guy again, once wrote, the earth is a mother for all people, and all people should have equal rights to her. But these days, at least here in Jackson County, at least in Jackson County, this mother favors the wealthy. But it doesn't have to be this way. This is more than just a policy. This is a philosophical rebellion. We reject the lie that housing must be a commodity. CLTs prove that when we share land, we can build communities for our future selves. So I will leave you with this. Next time that you see a for sale sign, I encourage you to ask yourself, who is this land for? Or who gets to belong this in the future? The answer isn't about zoning codes or tax rates. It's about who we are as a society. Do we value profit over people? Or will we choose a future where nurses like Maria can live in the communities they heal? I encourage our leaders to repurpose public land for public good. Together, we can reclaim housing as a human right and rebuild Jackson County to a community that everybody belongs. Thank you so much. I don't accept any type of question. If somebody wants a question, I'm open. Be gentle, please. Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Fasoli, my question is, from the executive branch of our government, I've been learning in macroeconomics how the government, with the multiplier factor, can really stimulate the economy.
Mm-hmm.
What would you recommend to our executive branch to try to nationally reduce this issue? It is not just Southern Oregon, it's across the entire country. And I don't want to put you on the spot if that was too much.
No.
So
I mean,
phone a friend with some of our economists. Smith's really good at that. He's going to pop up questions.
I mean, we are talking about a local issue that is also like a trend nationally. I would say that lower the interest rates would be maybe a good solution for this in the short run. But also, when you lower the interest rate, you make the asset prices go up. Right. So I don't think there's this is called the executive branch right now, and this is the problem that we can. I don't know. That's hard to answer.
Sorry.
No. Yeah.
What if we had, like, a big infrastructure investment, kind of like, after the Great Recession, but we were building houses, and then the government just auctioned off the houses, and then you were only allowed to buy them if you were a citizen, Wonder citizen. It's like just flood the market, but you couldn't have like speculative investment overseas.
I don't think that's the solution either. That would actually destroy the price of the other assets, or like the houses that are already on the market. How would a developer compete with free housing? I don't think that's fair for the market either. I mean, if the actual problem is affordable housing, yes, that would be an answer. But I don't think these people represent that big part of the U.S. to take a decision like that.
I have a question. I'm gonna ask the question just because Tom put me on the spot.
Okay. Why you did it?
No, so kind of just, well, first of all, again, I really like how you think about, like an actual problem that most of us are aware in a nice econometric framework. And I wonder if you can speak more about the data that you use for the progression.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, like what is the time frame that you're looking at, right? Because I'm wondering here if time, what is the role that time is playing into the increasing prices, right, over time. And I also think that's, if you were to have longitudinal data, right, and maybe you can play with this time effect and just kind of do some forecasting, over time, and just say like, how much of a problem this is gonna be 10 years down the road, right? And I think and that kind of just is gonna add more to like what how important this issue is to look at it.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm gonna go question for question. First of all, for the econometric model, I use the data from Zillow and our home recent sales done in 2025 here in Ashland.
Just 2025.
Just 2025. So it's pretty recent sales. For the second part, when you asked me about like this time frame, in the state of housing in Oregon, they state that the housing has increased their price 39% just from 2019 to 2023, while wages only increased 25% in that period of time. So that gap, I think, is going to have a bigger disparity in the future. That forecast I think is really interesting. I would love to include it in my final paper if I can do any conclusion on that too.
I know you only have a week, but yeah, I mean, ideally, if you were to have this, like 10-year, data set, and that I do think that time plays a bigger role here. So
yeah, if I could include data from the past and I can trace like a linear regression that maybe can showcase time in the future or predict the upcoming trends, yeah, that could be a really path forward, a really good path forward.
This is really interesting. Make eye contact with Jessica too. Franco, I'm hoping you can also comment. You mentioned he has a week to work on this, but actually Franco's got another 11 weeks to work on this project. So my ultimate question is, where are you going to go with this? But I also want to acknowledge that I noted that is a really interesting question. Some of the original question that was put to Franco, as I understood it, was about what could a community land trust in terms of portfolio offerings do, what composition that portfolio would meet some of the housing demand for that 68% AMI. What is it that group, that target group demands in terms of housing, and then community land trust can then target their portfolio composition in a more insightful way. And so that data sometimes it's kind of difficult to non-existent at times, depending on how specific we got on the question. And so I wanted to lift up Smith's suggestion that you've identified statistically something that feels like a problem, right? This land rent, this Georgian view of land rent, and that this location premium is a problem. And Councilman Smith is suggesting that going forward, you can project this out and make a case that it's gonna be more or less of a problem going forward, if I'm hearing you right. So I'm gonna return back to the question, where are you gonna go next with this as you do continue to work on this?
Yeah, so I think what we're trying to focus in the next time is already contextualize this issue. So I want to try to find a preference for this market segment and try to match it with the problem and try to draw the correlations between the issue, the supply we have, and the demand. I think that will be the shorter path forward.
And I'm gonna bring that back up. We have time for one more question. We're 19 and a half minutes. We're doing really quite well. Anybody else have a question?
Just a quick comment or
Wait,
follow-up.
hold on. Jessica, did you have your hand up?
No, I've
You should
learned
say.
so
Okay.
much.
Okay.
Zillow has the time data, right? On Zillow, you can look at the
You
Zillow
can-
estimate over time.
exactly.
So I know you wouldn't do that for this paper, but when you're going forward,
Yeah, I can get the data and try to predict the future trend. Yeah.
Actually, I do have a question. Did you all participate in developing Ashland's housing element for their citywide strategy document? No. In 2019, they updated the housing element, and they have some interesting data in there that looks at housing prices from 1970 to now as compared to wage changes are like this and housing is like this. And anyway, there's some interesting data in there that I'm happy to send you the link. It's really
Perfect.
interesting.
Be more than welcome.
Yeah.
And you might reach out to, have you met Echo Fields, a retired sociologist from our program?
Thank you,
So
Mike.
she has done a lot of research for this affordable housing proposals that the city's worked on, and I think she'd be excited to talk to you about what they're working on.
I can make that connection, and I'll bring this portion in for a landing here by connecting a few dots here. We have, if I can make all the outlet, we have the Greater Ashland Community Land Trust. Jessica's with,
We've rebranded.
Thank you. And so, but this all started with a conversation with that organization and some folks at SOU. And so it started with a yes to them making the ask for a conference, a conversation. It started with a yes of accepting the invitation. And then it continued with a yes in terms of, can we put a student project onto this? And would you like to partner? And it continued with a yes. And then I put it to Franco 10 weeks ago without any exposure to this issue. Franco, would you like to do this as your capstone? And it continued with a yes. And so I wanted to identify, highlight the role of yeses along the way that get to this. So in that spirit, I want to thank Franco for his presentation for starting us off today. So thank you. So let's take a 60-second stretch your legs. We're going to transition. Kobe Johnson's going to be our next presenter. Please refill your plates, refill your cup, and we'll talk about.